Okay, how close are you really? We hear wonderful stories about the McGarrigle sisters finishing each other's sentences. Is that true?
Start.
Yeah.
You're very close.
Yes, we're very close.
Fans?
It's scary sometimes.
Why?
I mean, I don't know, sometimes I think, what would the other one do if, actually maybe Kate would be very happy to be rid of me.
I know, I'm sure you feel the same way. No, I think it's kind of like, yeah, we are close. We do a lot. We're fortunate that we have the same taste in a lot of stuff. Like we both, like cross-country skiing, for instance. So I mean, so when we have to spend time together, we both like to go to the same kind of shops. Or, I mean, it would be terrible if we didn't like the same things. And we're out on tour and we'd have to spend a whole day together.
Do you ever know what each other's thinking? I mean, one of the wonderful things about your music is that there's a wonderful harmony all the time.
Yeah, we do. That's the problem. We do know what each other is thinking. We don't always like it.
Okay, you've got a new CD, and fans have waited 6 years for this. How come so long? How do you know, Anna, how do you know when you're ready to let something free?
Well, this was not so much that we were not ready, but it's just, it was a problem of logistics, moving from one label onto another label, label hopping. But then when we did start the record, we decided to write a lot of new material. And that's probably why it took 6 years.
Now, you live in the country, I understand,
Yeah.
in Alexandria, Ontario. Is it hard, and you live in Quebec?
It's just over the border.
Yeah, but is it hard to get together?
No, not at all. It's an hour-and-a-half drive for me. And we still have a home in Saint-Sever, which was our parents' home.
It's kind of like a triangle. You have Alexandria, Montreal,
In Saint-Sever.
Critics have written that your music is a fusion of French, Quebec music, and Celtic music. Do you think that's a fair description?
No.
No.
I think, I mean, we never heard, we didn't hear very much Celtic music at home, just because there wasn't a whole lot. I think we probably sound somewhat Irish. I mean, the closest thing to Celtic music we heard at home would have been like old records of, I don't know, John McCormick or stuff like songs, but not necessarily
Not
folk
Celtic
songs.
the way, you know, I think the chieftains and people of their ilk reinvented whatever Celtic music was. I mean, they...
New traditional.
Yeah.
You don't have to label your music, obviously, or even describe it, but do it anyway. What do you think it is?
It's contemporary folk pop. I don't know.
That's where you can find it in the record store.
Yeah, it's a product of all the stuff that
synthesis.
that you've listened to since you were a tiny child.
No
And-
label in one word.
Yeah. Oh, one word. Oh God, I don't know.
I don't know.
Beyond the sound, beyond the music, can I ask you about the lyrics? Because all of the fans that I know, the thing that moves them the most is the recurring themes, the questions about love. Where does it come from? How does it last? Does it last?
It comes from the sea, just like this song.
You seem to be working through a lot of the same questions on the new album, too. I mean, they're age-old questions, obviously. What do you think love is, Anna?
Oh, God. I think love is something that is invented by, I don't know, maybe not just human beings. I suppose it's a dependence on people to give you security, and but that's the kind of love. I mean, I'm talking about maybe not, how shall I say, love at first sight, that kind of thing, but more like a more mature love.
It doesn't always bring joy in your songs either, I've noticed.
Why did you look at me when you
Okay.
No, I could, well, no, I mean, how many happy love songs have you heard? They're not supposed to be happy.
Let's talk about airplay, something practical. You know, in reading the clips about you, what's airplay exactly?
Don't ask us about airplay.
Well, I want to ask you about the absence of airplay, because in reading about Kate and Anna McGarrigle, you read words like brilliant and astounding and beautiful, and you've won Album of the Year, and you've been ranked very high, you know, with all of the musicians around the world, and yet airplay's a problem. Why do you think that is, Anna? You don't get a lot of it, is what I'm saying.
I think when we went into this business, we didn't know about airplay, and I mean, or even if it was important. And in fact, when we first started out, I thought you made a single, you know. I mean, I thought it was like one of those little 45s with a big hole in the middle, and then it would automatically get played on AM radio. And the guy at Warner Brothers, who was our product manager, said, oh no, you know, we're not slating you for AM, you're for an FM audience. So like, they already had an idea, maybe, that we weren't mainstream.
We got played at somebody. Nora Guthrie informed us yesterday that we're played all the time at Fordham University, WFUV in New York. So,
But one of the things, Kate, that I've heard, I've also read is, oh well, the McGarrigle sisters are reclusive. True?
well, I think we are reclusive in the sense of because we don't participate a whole lot in the industry, and maybe that's a bit of a problem. But we don't know which industry to participate in. We're not really aware of the Canadian industry that much, and not really aware that. I think we're probably tied in closer to, say, the American folk thing. I think and the older one. That's kind of like where we started.
But is it, I mean, many say that you're not mainstream. Is it your choice not to be mainstream? I mean, you could go to LA, you could go to New York, you'd hang out with all the record producers.
No, I think it's just, we just do it. We do it the way it comes natural to us, and this is the result. I mean, it's not like, it's not, we haven't tried not to do this or tried to do that. We just do what we do, and this is the way it comes up.
Does it bother you at all that you aren't on the radio more or that you don't sell more CDs?
No, I think the only song really that ever got played with any regularity was the song Love Over and Over.
In Canada.
Yeah, and it's also because, you know, the guy who was our, you know, the publicity for the record company had worked in radio, and he knew that it could be played. He thought it had a chance, and it did. It got played in Canada. I mean, it didn't do anything in the U.S.
We've been hearing so much about protecting Canadian culture. Do you think it's helped you? Do you think the government needs to be doing more to promote Canadians?
I don't know. I mean, I was having this discussion with Anna this morning, and I was saying it's interesting, this whole folk alliance thing that's going on at the Harbour Castle. America, everything's funded by endowments, foundations that people put their money where their mouth is. I mean, you know, somebody says, I want to leave X amount of dollars in my will, and I want it to go specifically to folk music or something like that, then it will go, and people will manage it. And it's okay for Pete Seeger to live. He doesn't have to be rich because he has a respect, he has all that kind of stuff. He doesn't have to change. He doesn't have to become a pop musician to be rich. Here, they're wondering, like, well, it's kind of good, but will it get airplay and will it be #1? Because I think because the grants come from government institutions that we don't know who's sitting on the boards. It's just all made up of a bunch of people sitting on boards, and whether or not.
So do you think the government should be doing more?
Well, I think what Kate's saying is that the setup's a little different in the States, where
Should
they
they be
don't
doing more?
have
Not
as much
necessarily.
government in things. Private money goes to endow stuff. Maybe what we're saying is it would be nice if some of these rich Canadians would...
We're allowed to put it privately as opposed to
Yeah.
having it go into a fund. I mean, I don't know. Not everything is equal. And I mean, I think that's yeah.
There was a finishing the two-sentence kind of thing there, huh?
Yeah.
Between the sisters.
We rehearsed it.
Can we talk for a moment about Quebec and Ontario, the two solitudes in Quebec? You've mentioned that it does have some effect on your work. Can you describe that?
I've mentioned that. Well, as I've mentioned to people, I lived in the English part of Quebec for a long time in Westmount, but it got very depressing because so many people were leaving, so many people were talking about leaving, and will the value of the house go down? Should we get out now? Should we wait for 5 years? Are the kids going to school away? Will they be able? Yeah. So I just moved over to Outremont, which is the French section. So people are staying there. So it's more cheerful.
So you're happier? Do you think
Yes.
it influences your work, the politics?
No, I mean, I think we're kind of, I mean, I'm in a situation where we work mostly out of the country. So we don't have to, you know, we work mostly, England is our best market for some weird reason. And I'm also fortunate, I guess, my kids are American, so but they went to French school, so they can pretty much move around, you know. I like that kind of ability to.
So are we going to see more, Anna, of the McGarrigle sisters?
We're going to see more, you mean, in the future?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, do you feel like sing another song?
If she wants
Sure.
to, yeah.
If she wants to?
Oh, you mean in the
yes.
near future, yes.
In about a minute, or half a second.
Yeah,
you can
okay.
see more of us.